Are you ready? Today we're going to talk about an emotional story. He loves his father, but is just tongue-tied on how to express. John's eyes reveal a look of sympathy, yet he refrains from mentioning the funeral, as if harboring a secret in his heart. Maybe experience is right. Funerals are for the living. He hates seeing someone re-enter despair after escaping. Kelly thanked him, yet John couldn't help but spill the beans about the funeral plans, but before he finished, Billy shushed him. On the way back, a milk delivery truck passed by. John shouted, but the truck had already rounded the corner, leaving a few lonely cartons of milk on the ground. Not wanting to see them wasted, he took all the milk home to enjoy it at his leisure. The truck driver couldn't hear his calls anyway. Each time he searched for someone, it felt as if they couldn't hear his heart. John was not ready to call it quits and went looking for Billy's. His buddy was living a unique life trapped in this retirement home for years, but even after all this time, he still remembered all his moments with Billy. He invited John over, shared some canned goods, and recounted a classic tale about how he almost became one with the deceased. Thankfully, Billy charged in heroically and saved him, but after leaving the army, John never quite understood the charm of alcohol. His buddy simply told him that booze could help you forget, and before he knew it, he was at the square his buddy mentioned. Seeing two homeless men familiar with Billy's tale, he wondered what kind of guy Billy was. But to hear the story, he had to pay them off with a bottle of whiskey. He took a sip and nearly lost it over the taste. During his wanderings, Billy met a girl, the kind of dream girl that every drifter fantasizes about, and Billy just hit the jackpot. To make her smile, he stole a chocolate for her and ended up in jail for 3 months. They weren't flirting, just sat quietly on a bench at dusk, but the girl had died. John bought Billy an extravagant gravestone and handpicked the coffin with great care. Late at night, John downed 3 whiskeys in a lively bar. His cheeks flushed. He had everything ready for Billy, but his heart was heavy. He failed to persuade Billy's family, tidied up all documents neatly, and thus ended John's final case. He pulled up a chair and tied a bell to the window, wanting to test how it felt to bite down just like Billy did. But just then, the phone rang, interrupting his plans. It was Kelly, wanting to discuss something with John. He molded to and decided to attend the funeral, but ended up having a rather bold urination in front of the manager's car. He returned home, donned fancy clothes. At the venue, Kelly chose to attend the funeral, making John thrilled. John detailed the funeral, from the grand tombstone to chapel music. His thoroughness moved Kelly. Thanks to his efforts, Kelly gradually developed feelings for John, and John found himself caught up in an unspoken connection. At that moment, he decided to buy a radio and 2 dog pattern mugs for Kelly as a date gift. But just as he was stepping into happiness, in his rush to catch the bus, he completely forgot to look both ways. His hard work and dedication somehow struck a chord with Kelly, igniting his affection. Yet, in that sweet moment, Kelly suggested grabbing coffee afterward, and John couldn't help but beam with joy. This small gesture lit up his grey world. He was on the verge of having it all. But as he rushed to catch the bus, he forgot to look around while crossing the street. A sudden truck came crashing into him, and John finally paid the price for his recklessness. The dream girl met him again, this time in the cemetery, and John had a strangely calm reaction. A subtle smile appeared on his face, even though he hadn't managed to tidy up his office or witness Kelly at Billy's funeral yet. He hadn't even flipped through that photo album yet, nor had he seen a new flower sprouting on the grave he was buried. Gazing at the empty church, he sighed helplessly, remembering the days when John was there, and now he was all alone. John purchased an expensive coffin for a stranger, while he himself became the cheapest one of all. He arrived at the cemetery by hearse. All of Billy's relatives and friends came, not knowing John's efforts. Kelly wondered why John didn't show up for this important event. After all, he shouldn't have been absent. They scattered a handful of dirt on Billy's coffin, turning the whole funeral into a theatrical scene. John's efforts for the funeral were mostly complete, yet he didn't even get a decent gravestone, and Kelly noticed but rushed past. In the end, John was a mere passerby in his life. After the crowd left, the ghost's head held gathered at his grave. They bid farewell to this angel with silent prayers. Life is like soil. What you sow will be what you reap. Sow a positive attitude. Reap a thought. Plant a thought. Get an action. Actions breed habits, and habits shape your destiny. John managed to do most of it, but due to carelessness and recklessness, he ultimately filtered out the ending. Yet, he firmly believed that in the journey of life, there are always returns. However, behind every perfect harvest, there's often a sense of loss that tags along. John dedicated himself to others, sacrificing his chance to see the world, but he gained a profound inner satisfaction. This lifestyle, however, had its side effects. John's life was just too monotonous, overshadowed by loneliness, and in a poverty-stricken hole, he reached into the machine, feeling an overwhelming despair, not wanting to endure this pointless struggle any longer. Don't forget to subscribe and like.